Welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast with your host, Helen Fritsch. Helen is a 60-plus, lifelong competitive athlete, flight attendant, published fitness model, writer, IFBB bodybuilding pro, and certified wine specialist who believes that your age is irrelevant to pursue goals, dreams, and desires. Are you a woman in her 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond who still has a burning desire to pursue a dream or a passion? Are you thinking about starting a new chapter in your life, but you're hesitant, thinking that you might be too old or just don't know where to begin? The Age is Irrelevant podcast is a podcast devoted to women who want to defy the odds, smash barriers, and redefine happiness and success after 40. It's time to make a difference. There is no need to dread blowing out that added birthday candle every year. A new movement is slowly taking momentum, where being over the hill just isn't relevant anymore. Age labels are being thrown out the window, and women are rediscovering the strength within themselves to make a difference, not only within their own lives, but also touching and inspiring the lives of other women. Join Helen as she and her guests discuss all aspects of aging after 40 and how to make the aging process and those twilight years more rewarding, exciting, and fun.
Hello and welcome to the Age is Irrelevant podcast. I'm your host, Helen Fritsch, and this is episode 125. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming one of the most respected voices in the regenerative aesthetics and longevity medicine, Dr. Stephen Sorr. Dr. Sorr is a board-certified naturopathic physician, internationally recognized educator, and a true pioneer in advanced aesthetic and regenerative medicine. He has dedicated his career to helping people age beautifully by combining the latest scientific innovations with a holistic, health-first philosophy. If you've ever been curious about collagen stimulators, biostimulators, PDRN, exosomes, skin rejuvenation, facial balancing, or the future of regenerative aesthetics, you're talking to one of the experts leading the conversation. Dr. Sorr trains physicians from around the world on the newest techniques and technologies, giving him a front row seat to what's truly effective and what's simply hype. What I love the most about his approach, it's not about chasing youth or creating an artificial look. It's about restoring healthy, vibrant skin, supporting the body's natural ability to regenerate, and helping people look their best version of themselves at every age. Like myself, I am a patient of Dr. Sorr's. Today, we're separating fact from fiction. We'll discuss the treatments worth considering after 50, the biggest mistakes people make with their skin, how regenerative medicine is changing the future of aesthetics, and where Dr. Sorr believes that exciting field is heading next. If you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, I want to look refreshed, not different, then this episode is for you. I'd like to welcome Dr. Stephen Sorr to the show. Here we go. Hi, Dr. Sorr. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled that you're here. And for my listeners, I'm thrilled to welcome a physician who is helping redefine what healthy aging can really look like. Dr. Stephen Sorr is a board-certified naturopathic physician and the founder of Source of Health in Scottsdale, Arizona, where he has become one of the leading voices and visionaries in regenerative medicine, functional medicine, and aesthetic innovation. He appears as a speaker, educator, and advisor for prominent organizations across the country. Also voted as one of the top 100 aesthetic injectors in America. His mission goes far beyond helping people look younger. He's passionate about helping them age with strength, confidence, vitality, and purpose. His approach is rooted in restoring natural balance without unnecessary invasiveness. And as many of you know, I believe aging isn't something that we should fear. It's something that we should embrace. But embracing it doesn't mean settling for feeling tired, losing muscle, accepting chronic pain, or believing our best years are behind us. And Dr. Sorr shares that philosophy. He helps his patients optimize their health by identifying the root causes of illness and combining the latest science with personalized care to help them live life at their fullest. So if you're 50, 60, 70 or beyond, get ready to take some notes because I have a feeling you're going to walk away inspired and with some practical tools that you can start using right away. So again, Dr. Sorr, welcome to the show.
Woo, thank you so much. Some big shoes to fill there. I hope everybody enjoys.
And one thing I do want to be very transparent about, I'm a patient of Dr. Soar's. He has helped me tremendously when I first came to Scottsdale. I luckily found him on social media and he just lives, practically in my backyard or his office is. And I had a CO2 laser resurfacing done. I've had some subtle Botox and filler done, and really the before and after pictures, very, very subtle, but just like we talked about just earlier, very refreshed. I mean, absolutely thrilled. So I thought you'd be a perfect guest to have on the show.
I'm so excited to be here.
And I always like to ask my guest just a little bit, nothing crazy, about growing up. I mean, I'm always interested in to hear, because a lot of times people kind of start fading into their professions because of something that happened, previously when they were younger, and then some not. But tell us where you were born and tell us just a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have one of those stories. It's about as curly as my hair, if you can relate to that. So I'm from Jersey. I'm from a little island, Atlantic City, the Monopoly board. Grew up right by Marvin Gardens, if you
Oh,
will. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. Anyway, grew up on an island, had a really great childhood growing up, decided that I love art and science, or art and science just loves me. So everything that I've ever done was always in that lens of art and science. Those are my superpowers. And when I was originally deciding what do I want to be when I grow up, right around high school, I decided I love plants. Helen knows I've got plants in my treatment room. I've mini jungle in here. And so landscape architecture was something that came up of mind. And what better place to study architecture than at ASU here in Arizona? And I have family out here, so it was an easy win for me to slide out here. And something significant happened to me that first year, freshman year. I did have a nice freshman year experience. It started off just like every other freshman in college. And then I stood up one day in the spring and I had pain that went down my leg. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but it was severe. 18 years old, and I had a very, very bad case of sciatica. I didn't do anything. I just went to school like a good boy. I'm a good boy. And just went to school, did my thing. I could barely walk. I couldn't sit. It was excruciating. So I barely finished that spring semester by the skin of my teeth. And I went back home to rehabilitate, went to see a neurologist and all of those things. They just put me in PT and some drugs to kind of mask the pain, wait for the time to go on. So that was 18. When I decided to come back out to Arizona, I always loved cooking and grew up with my grandmom cooking and teaching me. I watched the Food Network and all Julia Child, all the old things. So I decided to go to culinary school. I was
Mm.
like, architecture, no, that was too much sitting and I don't want to sit all day long, but I can cook. Now, hindsight's 2020, right? I didn't realize standing on your feet all day is harder than sitting on your butt all day. And the kitchen was very, very tough and it was very rigorous, but I learned a lot. So after culinary school, my very first day actually was 9/11 as an intern at the Biltmore.
Oh, wow.
That kind of shapes and puts a timeline on things with people. Uh, I love the cooking. I love baking. Chocolate's my favorite thing in the world. Always has been ever since I was little.
Me too.
Uh-huh. And so I got into pastries and did all that. And I just kind of worked around in the restaurants for a while. And through that time with my back, it wasn't like perfectly good. I was seeing a chiropractor at the time and I was learning how to work out. But I was at the gym one day and this really sweet girl said, "Hey, come on in." And it was for a yoga class. I was like, "Oh, no, no, no. I definitely am not flexible. I can barely walk right now." She's like, "That's okay." She got me a folding chair, not a little block, a folding chair, just to hold on. And I started doing yoga and regularly, and my body just started to get strong. I had never worked out a day in my life. I was just not athletic whatsoever. I know looking at me now, I've got muscle on me, but that's because of good old-fashioned elbow grease and consistency. But yoga really transformed my life. It
Wow.
got my brain, my mind, my heart, my soul, everything together, and I found myself. And that shaped me in such a profound way to have pain, but not be suffering from it, to feel that liberation. And as a young kid, like I was barely 21 at that point, and things just started happening in these really mysterious ways. When you look back, you're like, there it is. Yep, there it is. So I went throughout my years in the restaurants doing my thing. And I sat there one day with my grandmom and my aunt and my mom. They're like, you like this yoga thing a lot. Why don't you do something with it? So years later, I went to yoga teacher training and became a yoga instructor.
Wow. Didn't know any of this.
Oh, yeah. So there's only three hats, okay? We have food, yoga, and medicine. So there's not that long of, but there's a lot of depth within all of this. So the yoga practice became the yoga teacher. And through teaching, something else started clicking in. It's like, oh, that art and science thing in my brain, I wasn't utilizing it to the best of my ability. So medical school started bubbling up, and I was like, okay, let's go ahead and look at all the options. And because of my skew being in yoga, I wanted to do something natural. So I looked into naturopathic medicine, which I was like, what is that? Somebody brought that word up. I'd never heard of it before. We're going back to the early 2000s. So nobody even knew what turmeric or ashwagandha was back in the day, let alone all the things we have nowadays. So I looked into it, and this little marketing flyer said, mind of a doctor, heart of a healer. I was like, where do I sign up? This is for me. So I went back to ASU and got my prereqs in all the medical stuff, the pre-med. Now, Helen, I told you I like art and science. For a kid who always wanted to do science and was told not to go into medicine by his family because healthcare is so bad, I was like, I was in heaven. I got to take cell biology and biochemistry and every science class that a kid could ever wish for. I was in heaven. And then I got into med school and absolutely had the best time of my life. So that's how I got into medicine. From medicine, I started to work on selfishly myself, healing my back, figuring out what are some ways that I can do because my back was still going out
Wow.
off and on, off and on. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Everyone's like, are you gonna have surgery? I'm like, no, I don't want to have surgery. What can I do about it? So it was this ever long process. And that's where I found what you all know about is PRP and stem cell and all that. So prior to that, it was called prolotherapy. So we inject into the ligaments and tendons to make them stronger. And when we say make them stronger, guess what we're making them stronger with, Helen? Collagen. You're stimulating your body to produce more collagen. Is this sounding a little familiar with what we're doing? As you can
Yes.
see how it's evolving.
Right.
But this is going back before I even thought about anything in the aesthetic world.
Wow.
So I get out into practice, and at that same year, Sculptra comes available for use. Certain fillers started coming out, brand new. Everything serendipitously started to blossom year after year after year. And here I am now, like after I call the pandemic BC, everything before that is BC. And then after in the future that we're in now, the life has just exploded. I've been teaching all around the world. I've traveled monthly to different parts of the country and teach other doctors, nurses, PAs, NPs how to do what I do in a way that helps them understand that what's going on inside reflects outside. And what's outside can't always address what's happening on the inside. So, how do we integrate these together? So, integrative aesthetics was born. We use functional, aesthetic medicine, bringing it together at the cellular level to give you your outward reflection of healthy, radiant, glowing skin, vibrant energy, everything that you could think of, brain cognition, getting rid of belly fat, building muscle, strengthening your bones, helping your heart live long and prosper for as long as you want it to go.
That's a crazy journey. I mean, just looking back, I'm sure you probably think over and over again, I would have never thought that I'd be here from starting where you started.
I
That's
know.
really,
I told you it was curly.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But you know what though? And you seemed like the type of person to me, I know so many people who have their blinders on and they go through life with blinders. And, you and I have our peripheral vision. So I'm always looking for signs from the universe.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I start something new and then all of a sudden doors start opening or things start happening, I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. But if I keep getting, blocks and blockades and detours, I'm like, okay, I may want to rethink this. This doesn't sound like, the universe is wanting me to go down this road. So it sounds like you were being guided by the universe just from these things that were happening to you to get where you are today.
It's really humbling. I'm so grateful for all of the experiences. And people are like, "Do you regret anything?" I'm like, I wouldn't be where I'm at without all of these experiences in different buckets. I got to live life. I didn't just go right from high school to college to med school, and I didn't have that focus then, but I'm glad because everybody is now jumping on my little wave that I started years and years, decades ago, to look into the body and looking at how can we use our science to improve us in the most natural way possible. Now, everything natural is not good and everything synthetic is not bad. So it's using science to really delineate what is real, what is fluff, what is the real signal, what is noise.
Right, right. I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different topics I wanted to talk about, but you mentioned a couple things earlier, so I thought this would be a good starting point. And let's talk about hormone optimization because that's a really big topic that, especially with me, I was just telling you earlier, being a flight attendant and working with so many women in their 50s and 60s who are not on, hormone therapy, have really never even looked into it, and then they can't understand why they have all these issues going on. So let's start the conversation off with that.
So if you have any listeners that were around in about 2002, 2003, they read on the cover of Time magazine, hormones cause cancer because of a study that ruined women's health for 2 decades. That has now been completely expunged. It was a mistake. The devil's in the details there. They weren't talking in the study about the true hormone that you produce in your body, estradiol and progesterone. They were slightly modified. They're synthetics. So this is where the synthetic was the problem, not the actual de novo, what your body makes molecule. Okay. That's gone now. We know how safe and effective hormones are at every age. And I think it's very interesting, Helen, just to talk about what happens to a woman in her 40s and 50s. Have you ever heard of someone, they raise their kids, the kids are out of the house, and then I'm changing my career. They're going to change everything about themselves. What happened before that? Their hormones changed. What caused that shift? Are they really fed up or did they just go off of a cliff and now they have no, the hormone is gone? Females get castrated essentially by time. Men do not.
Mhm.
And if men did, that would be the First Amendment to the Constitution right there. I do not. I will not. I will not stand for it. I am all about equality and helping people from the cellular level. Hormones are a very potent and effective signal. Think of our cells. We have trillions of cells. They all sit in one place, hopefully. Even our red blood cells, they're in the circulatory system, even though it's moving, but they sit in one place. Your white blood cells, they can move around. And then everybody else is just sitting there waiting for the signal. So imagine you're like in your house and you're waiting for mail to come. You're waiting for that mailman, postal worker, and the signal never comes. You're like, huh, guess I'll just sit here and wait a little bit longer and a little bit longer and a little bit longer. Things start breaking down. There's no more signals being sent. The house is going to fall apart. This is at the cellular level. What happens inside of your cells? You have mitochondria, right? The powerhouse of the cell. Every time you say that, you have to flex. It's mandatory. It's my rule. Got to do it. And on our mitochondria, on our cell membranes, inside of our nucleus, where DNA is read, lie hormone receptors. And if you're no longer getting that signal, they don't do their job. You don't make the necessary things, so your body just quietly quits. More senescent cells accumulate. Senescent cells, think of the root word like senile, they're the zombie cells. They sit there. They're not dead. They're alive, but they're not functioning. So they kind of just release something that's like a zombie. They're screaming for help and scaring all the neighbors around them. And that causes more destruction and more degradation within the tissue. So hormones are so strong in a way that restores exactly what you were missing the whole time. Where do we intercept? That really depends on the person. We look at blood work. I'm all about taking a look at people's blood levels, but I also want to take a look at who is sitting in front of me. If I have a 49-year-old female presenting with hot flashes and night sweats, irritability and mood swings, so tired, hair's falling out, doesn't know what's going on, do I need a blood test to tell you that she's missing out on something?
Yeah.
Not really. Not really. The hormones right before menopause are very what I like to call cattywampus. They're all over the place. Now, if you're regular every 28 days up until that last egg takes a hike, that's very lucky. But they start to go intermittent. So, what is the point of so specifically testing? Because every week a female has a different hormonal level. After menopause, it just goes to zero. There's nothing. And then all of the benefits that your hormones like estrogen and progesterone gave you go by in about 10 years. And we know that now. It's safe. Obviously, there are some people who might be having hormonal related cancers that we want to have be some sensitivity to. But for the general public who is keeping up with their good health exams, they're doing their routine imaging orders, they're going to be in a really good place to receive good, compassionate, patient-centered care from somebody who gets it.
And I was telling you in my late 50s, around 60, that I went to my OBGYN and wanted a hormone panel because I felt like I just wasn't making any progress in the gym and this, that, and whatever. And my hormones came back nil across the board. And
Mhm.
she refused to give me any hormones because she was telling me at 60, this is where I was supposed to be as a
Mhm.
woman. And I couldn't get out of the office, fast enough, and never looked back. So I think it's very, very prevalent that women do their research and, they go to either their OBGYN or a good wellness doctor, that they, maybe have done some research on and, I can have a very frank conversation about hormonal therapy and optimization because it really is life-changing. It really is.
Definitely. There's these old dogmas that just do not hold true. We have evidence, really good research that says how safe they are, about do they cause all of these problems? No, they actually used to treat them. So it's very difficult. It's very unsettling when your doctor that you might have been seeing for decades all of a sudden doesn't have the information available to give you sound research that's out now. That's why we do continuing education. We never stop learning. Why would you want to? But some people just get very stuck and they get nervous. Doctors get nervous about doing things that are not standard of care.
Mhm.
Women have there's no diagnosis for low testosterone in a female. None. That's rude, number one. And it's not true. There is. Women have more testosterone, even during normal cycles, normal life. There's more testosterone in a woman than estrogen. Pretty important.
Mm.
Yeah. So the range is almost insulting. So we're able to have these conversations to where I'm not trying to masculinize a female. I'm trying to give you back something that's so vital. And then once you do, you're like, the lights go back on. That belly fat starts doing what it needed to do the first time. It was go back to where it belongs, go away, give your muscles back the tool that it needs to make muscle. If you lose your muscle, you atrophy, you lose your bone strength. You lose bone strength, you become frail, then you fall. Not good.
Especially for people over 60.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have so many great places to intercept someone on their trajectory at any decade of life. So I always lead with education. I want to empower and galvanize the person in front of me to be able to make the best choice that they can. Here are the resources. This is absolutely free. These things cost you a lot of money. Do you want to try the free things first? They kind of work
Mhm.
really well if you do them. I mean, everyone's got to eat. Eat like this.
Right.
Everyone moves. Move like this.
Very true. Very true.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. My next little topic is called Aging 101.
Mm.
So, I'm just going to ask you some random questions, and this has to, probably somewhat to do with hormone therapy too. But
Yeah.
um, over 50 women, our face seems to really dramatically change.
Mhm.
And so, what exactly is happening beneath the skin?
Great. Great question. So as we age, and I don't know if you remember this, as we age, we sink, we shrink, or sag. Those are three bad S words, and we try not to say those again. Okay. So at every decade, your body changes. Our face is like a sandwich. We have the skin and we have the bone. The meat's in the middle, the muscle, and then you have fat pads, superficial, underneath the skin, and deep right on the bone. At every level in that little sandwich, aging happens. Most of the aging that people see on their face when they get to 50 is not a skin, is not a muscle, is not a fat problem. It's a bone problem. Your bone, your facial skeleton resorbs. You lose bone mass in your skull. Your orbit gets bigger. The front of our face, the maxilla, retracts. It goes backwards. The chin changes shape. The jawline changes shape. The temples begin to sink in. So we have to work first structurally on the bone to like replace or camouflage what has been lost. We have options for that. In the skin, we have a combination of things. We want to stimulate collagen. It's all about collagen. Bone is collagen too. People don't know that. But bone is made out of collagen and the calcium adheres to it. It's a special type of collagen. So if you're losing collagen in your skin and in your bone, you're aging. Now, how do we stimulate the bone to get stronger? Hormones, physical forces, exercise, and you need the substrate. What is collagen made out of? Protein. Nobody's talking about protein shaming. There's carb shaming and fat shaming. There's diets galore, but there's never what is protein? What foods have protein? It's now a buzzword because there are other doctors and nutritional scientists that are speaking out about this now and how effective it is. But all the protein in the world doesn't do anything without the hormonal signal. So we have the substrate, which is the protein and all the micronutrients that go along with that. The signal is the hormone, or in the body's case, the physical stimulus. And then you have the scaffold, the engine, the cells that are doing the job, putting it all together. So when we're looking at somebody who is right around that ripe age of 50, we have to look at it from both sides. We want to work on from the inside out because whatever we're going to do outside in, we want to make sure that we have the best scenario possible to get the best outcome. I don't do treatments, I do an entire care plan. I see this through. We prepare, then we treat, and then we move to the next treatment to start to stack our outcomes together so that you have the best result possible. And like I've told you before as well, everything that we do on the non-surgical side does not compete with the surgical side, it is collaboration because it's a Venn diagram. So I prepare the body for doing something that if surgical options are of interest. And nothing really has that overlap. If you do, let's say, a facelift and you move the skin, you tuck that all back, in about 10, 15 years, if you do nothing, you're going to notice. But if you maintain your results and you keep up, it's like imagine letting your hair just grow out for 10 years and then you color it and then it grows out for 10 years. Like you're gonna have some pretty big banding in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to maintain it. You don't might be able to get by for a little bit and there's things that are in between. But for the average person, it doesn't take a lot of heavy lifting. It really doesn't. I do want to preface and go back to your question, and I want to assume that we're talking about somebody who is the same weight. They haven't gained weight or lost weight.
Yeah.
That's a different topic, right? So somebody who is younger, let's say they're 25 years old and they're 300 pounds, they look differently than somebody who is 52 and 300 pounds. You can tell that they're older. And it's because of these bony changes, not the amount of fat, not the amount of muscle. It's the bony changes, that landscape that everything is draped upon. So we like to focus on those structural components deep first, and then see what we can do on the surface that's less of filling. And people are very nervous and afraid of getting filler because of all of the media and how people do it incorrectly. Now, I think it's also important for people to understand who they're talking to here, who they're listening to. That's why I use ultrasound, when I can see underneath the skin using ultrasound, that grants me something very, very unique. I see where blood vessels are, I see where your bones are, and I can see exactly where I'm going with the products that we're using. That's important.
That's one of the things I was so impressed by. I was just amazed, thinking, "Oh my God, this is so, astonishing that I'm watching you and I can see everything that you're doing."
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. Thinking, I've never experienced that before. So
Yeah.
it's very comforting, because it made me realize or think, in the past, it's kind of like you're going into a doctor's office and then they're just like tossing a coin. It's like a
Yeah.
crapshoot. Like, okay, well, I'm going to put a needle in here and let's just see. Hopefully it works. Hopefully I don't hit a nerve or a blood vessel or whatever. So,
Yeah. Now we have techniques to help reduce that, but I guess the best thing is to actually see where you're going
hmm
instead of just feeling around and hoping for the best.
right, right.
So
Um, what are some of the biggest misconceptions women have about facial aging, do you think?
they think that something topical is going to make a significant change deeper down. They're using all of these Botox in a bottle things and all of these things that are being advertised to them and talked about, and it really just doesn't move the needle, pun intended, sorry. It doesn't, sorry. It doesn't make that big of a difference. Oh, my friend's using this, and do you think it'll be good? I'm like, for what you're concerned about? No. I think for light general things, topical applications can be nice, but nothing's going to really replace volume except volume.
hmm
And nothing's going to really stop those muscles of frowning like using a neuromodulator.
hmm That's
It is
true.
what it is.
Right. And so when does it make sense to start like aesthetic treatments in your opinion? Is there starting too early or starting too late?
I start in your 20s. As soon as you're an adult and you make adult decisions, the number one decision is to stop burning yourself and getting damage in the sun, not exposing yourself to smoke and pollution, to stop putting in foods that are causing inflammation in your body, reducing your cortisol and stress levels, learning how to cope better. That's when I start. So I see adults of every decade. And what I tell somebody in their 20s applies throughout the rest of the decades of life for all of the patients. It's still applicable. If you want to age fast, have a lot of cortisol running around, go for it. Be a stressed out little busy bee.
Yeah.
Not all those who have stress are stressed out. Stress can be a wonderful motivator. It's eustress. When you work out, that is a stressful event on the body. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Your heart rate increases, you're looking around, you're sweating, your heart's pumping, all these things are happening. Are you thinking about eating at that moment? Nope. You're running away from lions, tigers, and bears and using your muscles to do so. But that temporary stress is hormetic, or hormesis is the little soundbite of that which does not kill you, makes you stronger. So when we do exercise, we're improving our body by giving it what it needs. When we do a laser or microneedling, we're stimulating the body. Its response is to produce more collagen, to make the skin stronger, glow, and more resilient again. Everything that we do in my world is to help you heal better. A lot of this research comes from wound healing, like diabetic ulcers, burn victims. How do we get the body to heal better? A lot of orthopedic things are also applied to the aesthetic side. PRP came from dentistry, using your blood, spinning it around, taking out the platelets. Now we have PRF, platelet-rich fibrin, so you get a better yield of platelets, more growth factors from them, and applying that in that way. Now we have things that are being able to be produced in the lab, just like insulin's produced, and we can utilize that, those growth factors, different signaling um, molecules to help the body do the thing that we're trying to get it to do without having negatives.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah.
I had a CO2 laser treatment with you and I love the results. So, who would be the ideal candidate for this type of treatment?
So a CO2 laser is a laser that causes tissue damage with micro injuries. We're vaporizing water. The target of CO2 and erbium are the classes of laser that vaporize water. The goal there is to only just touch the skin, but to stimulate the collagen production process. CO2 creates a little bit more heat. It's messy energy versus erbium, or we have an ultra clear as well. You have messy energy, and that radiates out heat. That heat can cause contraction of the tissue, which is good, but not in dark skin types. That can cause problems of too dark or too light that could change their skin tone. If you're very, very light, like you and I, you're lighter skinned than I am, it doesn't cause the problems that in a light brown to darker brown skin can. So we have to be sensitive and careful with those patient populations. Skin of color can get these treatments. It just has to be done more spread out. So like I said, it's a little dot. Well, we can make those dots go further apart. So you're helping to spread the fire out, so to speak, and then it can still be applied. So it's a wonderful tool. It's gold standard for doing skin remodeling.
What are some improvements that women can realistically expect from the CO2 laser?
So when we have, so there are other lasers as well. So CO2 causes ablation. So we're vaporizing the tissue. There's also non-ablative, which just creates heat, but not that little Star Wars hole. It doesn't create the hole there. It just creates a cone of heat. Both of them have shown to reduce the occurrences of non-melanoma skin cancers like squamous and basal cell. Because if there is a cell that's been mutated and just kind of sitting there, boom, it's gone. Like you just vaporized right through it. So repeated exposure of these lasers can be actually really beneficial for the skin. I'm not saying it's curing cancer. Please don't ever go that far, but it can help. And if you remove some of the sun damage that this causes just through life, and the laser can smooth out your skin, you're more radiant, you feel better, and we can achieve a better quality of skin, even if you're deciding to go through with surgery, because the surgeon has to go ahead and work with that skin, with the tissue. Well, why don't you give them the best skin possible?
Hmm.
So even before getting into laser, which is a big procedure, you went through it, it's hot and for a week and you're like not really going out and working out. Like that's something that I have to think about
Yeah.
Anytime it's like, listen, I won't be able to go to the gym for like a good week. Where's my mental sanity? What am I going to do? I love, like you do, I love to exercise. It's my medicine. We can do microneedling. Microneedling is creating those tiny little micro injury channels, but using a little needle, very, very small vibration. We numb your skin first with all of this. I guess I should have prefaced that. It's not painful. And we can prepare the skin that way. So we prime our tissue, we prime our cells, and then we give them the right tools, the nutrients, the substrate to do better. So it's that step-by-step process to improve.
I was just going to ask you about the difference. How often should people consider doing these treatments as far as microneedling versus CO2?
So microneedling can be done rather often. You could do that monthly. With a CO2 laser or a fractional ablative laser like our ultra clear or erbium, those can be done either very, very superficial, barely scratching the surface. That could be done every month or 6 weeks apart for a few. But to truly get that benefit that we're talking about from the CO2, we got to go deep. We got to hit it hard. But when I say deep, I mean just through the layer of the skin. It doesn't go through down to the bone or through the muscle or through those other layers. It's just skin deep, which is about a millimeter and a half at most. That can be very, very significant for people. And that will be done once. Depending upon their skin, they might need a second treatment within that year or 18 months. It's a beautiful result. I had mine done last year, and with all of the at-home care and the prescriptive medicine that I use on my skin, I have the best skin I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, your skin looks amazing.
It's like very happy, and I have very, very little. I just have some serum and some sunscreen on. That's it. It's just through using science and not going and playing around with all these things you can order at 2 a.m. on your phone and hoping it works. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand what's happening. We're marketed to you all the time. It's like you don't even have to say the word. You think the word and bloop, it pops up on your phone.
Yeah, because your phone's listening to you. My phone's sitting next to me, and I can guarantee when I get off this conversation, I'll be
I
getting
know.
ads for all kinds of things.
Yeah. My head's gonna pop up
Yeah.
on your social media. I'm like, oh yeah, you're just
Um,
talking.
and I've had microneedling done in the past, and a lot of times they'll include some type of serum with that too. Can you
That's
talk
right.
about like the different types of serum that you can add on?
Yeah, so after your skin is numbed and cleansed, we have a blank surface, clean skin. Because those microneedles, there's anywhere from like 6 to 12 of them moving at very, very high repetitions. It's like a vibration almost at varying depths. You need something to help glide along the surface. The very basic thing is hyaluronic acid, not filler HA, but just hyaluronic acid. It's basically like very slimy or slippery. If you use HA serums at home, same kind of thing, just made to be microneedled, so it's sterile. Uh, we can then add to that, which I love. That's where we get creative with giving the tissue nutrients. We can do the poly, uh, we'll call it the salmon sperm, PDRN.
Mhm.
A lot of people are familiar with the salmon sperm facial. So that's using nucleotides, basically fragments of DNA to stimulate. We have peptides, different growth factors, nutrients, and even certain botanicals that are a sterile preparation able to be applied into those channels for, let's say, aging skin, brightening skin, or even acneic skin. If there's acne for some reason, we can really start to modify, customize, and personalize that treatment for the person at hand. And I love that. I love that for people. Uh, Microneedling is great. It's the true collagen induction therapy. It's still one of my favorite treatments to do. It's very, very low on the downtime. You don't have to go so deep that you're bleeding, because if I'm putting something in topically, just think about this. If I want something going in, I can't have blood coming out those holes. I want it to stay in there.
Right.
So it's a more of a superficial microneedling to allow me to apply, it's called mesotherapy, these tools into the skin. And it's great. I love it. It's on my quarterly list for sure. So if you can't do it monthly or you don't need to do it monthly, at least quarterly. And you can alternate that with a chemical peel. We have different uh, depths or grades of chemical peels. Some could be very light. You could do it right before you go on stage, the day before, the day of. Your skin is just glowing. Doesn't cause a peel. It's more of a hydrating peel, if you will.
Right.
A no peel peel. Then there are medium depth peels, which cause that flaking and that little snake shed skin. And then there's aggressive peels, which are in that level of we're not just going to walk in and order a high depth chemical peel walking in. Your skin has to be really, you have to have all of the pre-care and post-care for that. So,
All these choices, and I've actually had some, major chemical peels done in the past too. And let me ask you a question. I think just because I use tretinoin and I use, different types of retinols and stuff like that, I've had some peels in the past where I'm thinking I'm going to be shedding, healing a
mhm.
lot more than I really did. So I'm guessing that's just because of me using those products versus someone, a newbie, getting a peel and then just really molting. Is that the
I
understanding?
love the word molting. You're absolutely right. So everybody's skin turns over and heals in a slightly different way. And I will tell you that people, even with tretinoin, which is one of my favorite ingredients, people won't go to the next level because around their mouth they get red and irritated. I'm like, but what about the rest of your skin? And do you know why it gets red and irritated? Because they're putting acids on, like glycolic and stuff, that it shouldn't be at the same time. So they're irritating their skin
Mhm.
and they're breaking their barrier down. So now they don't have healthy skin. So we have to pause, shift to the side here, restore our skin barrier, and then go back in again. But this is not a DIY thing. You need somebody who knows skin, who knows the anatomy, who knows your health. That's why integrative aesthetics is so important for everything that I do, because I don't want to have a bad outcome. You could do the same treatment on two different people and get two totally different results. It's not the provider, it's not the machine, it's not the ingredient. The person is different. So that human factor matters, and that's what I like to clear up. I don't want to paint on a dirty canvas, if you will.
Mhm.
So how can I prepare you to the best of my ability? Well, I use my science, I use my resources. So I love getting a good evaluation, a good diagnosis and assessment before treatment. So working with somebody who knows all of this and can work with you over the course of time versus just coming in for like a one-off, it's like marry me, don't date me. I promise you're going to get more hookups. It's going to make more sense. You're going to get better outcome. And it takes collaboration. I
Right,
want you to be open, honest, and transparent because time is sometimes the one thing that we don't have a lot of patience for.
right.
You might be like, in 1 week, you're like, meh, I don't really see anything. Okay, cool. Give me a month, give me 3 months, give me 6 months. Let the process work
No, I
because
agree with that.
we don't heal instantaneously. It takes time. Like, think about like a paper cut or just like a little scar. It might be like pink initially after the scab falls off, but when does it turn white? And when does it like, where did it go? I don't even remember where it was. That takes time.
Hmm.
And we expect to walk in and go back out, lift it all, sculpt and perfect, like get a facelift with just one little treatment. That's not true.
Yeah, no,
So
you're
we have
right.
to meet people where they're at and just help with education to tell them what to expect, setting up proper expectations, making sure you go to a good credentialed provider who knows this, has experience, has the tools in case something goes wrong.
Hmm.
We don't want to talk about when things go wrong, but it can happen. It's rare, super rare. That travels over social media. I have a lot of people that come in, they're afraid. So I have to educate them and disarm them and tell them how are all the steps that I do to prevent harm. Harm reduction is super important to me. I don't want people doing stuff at home because they don't trust a doctor or healthcare provider. I want to make sure that you're going to somebody who's going to be able to provide safe and effective treatments that put together into that care plan so you're just at your best.
Right. I agree with that. And over the last couple of years, I've actually done a lot of research and I've learned a lot too, especially when you were talking earlier about your skin barrier. Because I think growing up, I just didn't have any concept of that at all. And I didn't realize, I mean, I'm like loading all this stuff on my skin, but I'm not giving my skin a break. I'm not allowing it to be nurtured, with all that
Exactly.
good, creamy, thick, emollient moisturizers at night. And so I've really cracked down on, one night might be tretinoin, and then the next night it might just be a recovery night where I'm just, using some copper peptides and some ceramides, and then a good, really nice moisturizer, just to kind of, calm things down and, stuff
Every
like
night
that.
doesn't have to be an active, nothing. It doesn't have to be an active night
No,
every night.
yeah, exactly.
What
And I
happens
think,
if somebody works out every single day, maybe even twice a day? It's too much. You
yeah,
need recovery.
yeah. And I think my skin has improved from that.
Yeah,
But that's just my opinion. Um, so I want to talk about fillers, Botox, and looking natural.
let's do it.
So women are often so worried about looking overdone. And I'm
Yes.
sure that you have patients come in. Um, if I came into your office, I talk to you about what I want. I really love the fact that, you're being very honest and forthright with, yes, I think you could use this. Absolutely not. I will not do that on you. We see people out in public where we're like, oh, who
If
did
you can
that?
see that, if you can see it, it's bad work.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. So, how do you avoid that?
Well, I have my 3D camera. Being able to see your face objectively with that 3D precision and being able to make my metrics like I've done with you,
Mm-hmm.
you can see exactly that precision.
It really
And
is.
when
That's life changing because I
it
can I
makes
can
the
I can
biggest
physically
difference.
see
Yeah.
the before and after.
Yeah. That's just another tool that I have that most people don't have. I'm the rarity. I'm less than 5% of all of the aesthetic providers because I use tools and diagnostics to help me make sure I ensure I get the best results possible because I know exactly where I'm going. What makes people look unnatural is injecting in the wrong tissue plane.
Mm,
So if
yes.
you, yeah, so if you inject just underneath the skin and you blow out the front of the cheek, you look like a pillow face. Your eyes start shrinking, you can't smile because you animate your muscles animate and that skin moves. But if it's down on the bone, again, addressing these structural issues of the bone loss that's happening, you look much more rejuvenated because the facial skeleton is able to drape that better. So the only place that you want to inject superficially all the time is right on the lip. We don't want to go deep there. That'd be a problem.
Right.
Some areas can have a little bit of superficial filler, but the type of the filler is different. All filler is not created equal. Some is hard and it jiggles like jello. Some is soft and smooth, kind of like yogurt. And some is very thin like honey or maple syrup. It's all sugar gel. But what that lets us do is choose where it's going, how much, and at what level, and where am I going, and what are my different techniques. And that's the skill of the provider for sure.
Right.
Our goal is to not blow out your dimensions to make you look alien or abnormal. We stay within the context of either female or male beauty. What makes somebody attractive is that they look healthy.
Hmm.
When you can see somebody with these bags of blah, 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 it's like almost clear underneath their eye. I'm like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. When their lips stick out further than the rest of the body, that doesn't look right.
Yeah. Gosh, I would love to be with you sometime just out on the street.
Oh yeah. What's
That'd
it
be
called?
so fun.
Jaywalking? That would be funny.
So a lot of women I know, they get confused like the difference between Botox and filler. Can we
Of
kind of,
course. Yeah. Botox is not filler. So Botox is one of the brands of neuromodulator. It's called botulinum type A. What this does is it stops the release of acetylcholine from the nerve and doesn't let the muscle contract. So it stops the muscle from moving. It's a semi-paralytic, which is great. And if it works on one muscle and then the other muscle and the other muscle, each dose is very, very refined and specific. And that stops muscle movement. We don't always want to stop all muscle movement. We want to be able to use muscles that lift to lift. We don't want to stop muscles that pull us down and make us look heavier, pensive, or angry. You know, the RBF between the eyebrows.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that one. That's what I like to call the gateway, right there in the middle, because that opens up your eyes and you look more presenting. Filler is made out of hyaluronic acid, which is a sugar molecule that our body produces naturally. It's just modified differently so it resists the body breaking it down too fast. Okay. Then we have our biostimulators like Sculptra and Radiesse. Sculptra is made out of lactic acid. This is the same dissolvable suture that surgeons use that are dissolvable sutures, but it's just pulverized into a little powder. Yeah. And then that goes in underneath the skin and produces collagen. Radiesse is made out of calcium, just the same type of calcium in a powder like your bone. And that also produces collagen as well. So we have our biostimulators. And it's up to me to make that perfect recipe for you in a timely plan to fit into your lifestyle so you look and feel your best.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
What are the biggest mistakes you see people making with injectables?
Doing too much in the wrong order and going to somebody who's not skilled. They don't ask the right questions. They're only focusing on what you want and taking orders. It's my job as a doctor to diagnose. Sometimes people come in and they're very upset for other reasons. Is it a breakup? Is it a divorce? Is it a loss of a loved one? Maybe you're having a promotion and you want to look your best. That's a great reason to celebrate. Not, I'm upset and I want to change who I am. Learning how to say no is a very, very strong skill to strengthen. We have to help people on their journey. Every time you come in doesn't mean I'm doing treatment on you, but I want to talk to you about it. This is what to think about. This is what to consider. When is this too much? When is this not enough? So I think having that relationship, it's really, healthcare is great. When you find a healthcare provider, I don't care what their designation is, if they have a license to practice medicine and help you, and you have a good rapport and relationship with them, that's it. People think that doctors are better injectors than nurses, and that's not true. That is not true at all. In the aesthetic field, it's very, very free, if you will. If you have a license and you can inject in every state is different, unfortunately. We live in one country, but every state has its own rules. So that's not always the same. Surgeons don't make better injectors, I promise you. I fixed some things that surgeons have done. I'm like, why would they put that there? It's the wrong product. Looks awful. It takes all different kinds of people to make the
Yeah,
world work.
you're
But
right.
as long as you resonate with your person.
What aesthetic treatments are getting the most attention right now?
The trendy, flashy things that are brand new always get a lot of attention because the people who bring them on, especially with our devices, they're very expensive. And you want to sell those treatments to pay off the expense, the
Right.
investment. Okay. They are. Sometimes there is warranted excitement for when a new product comes out because we've been waiting for it in America for a long time. America's a little slow with getting things approved, but once they're approved, we're usually pretty happy about the safety and the effectiveness profile of them. Not always, but usually.
Okay. Are there any trends that concern you right now?
Yes. People doing things on their own at home, people ordering things online and sticking needles in themselves. Insane, purely insane. That concerns me. Um, the most important thing is that you don't have that person in your corner that has the medical experience and has seen thousands of patients. You're just relying on maybe yourself or what your friend says. So buyer beware. there are people that want to take advantage of others just to make money. And I think that that really is a big line in the sand. So there's ways you can tell. If it feels like you're going into the finance option of a used car salesman, you should know that that is not comfortable and that you're being sold something. I'm not like that, you know.
True. How can women find an injector that they can trust? I mean, what are some things that you can suggest?
I think that having a really good way is to read reviews, look at their social media, look at their website, look at before and afters, get to know them, have multiple consults with different people in your area. People travel to see me all the time, which is good. We have a little consult first, they come in, love that. But credential your providers. The front desk, when they answer the phone, if they have no idea what the doctor does or the nurse injector does, that's not good. That means the office isn't going to be able to support you. It should feel right. It really should. So be skeptical, especially in an industry that has the potential for spending a lot of money and maybe taking advantage of others. I think it's important that you're going to the doctor and you want to make sure you get something that's trusted advice.
Right,
We assume, but we shouldn't assume. We have to make sure that we're doing our best due diligence, but ask friends, ask around. There's forums and groups. I have people that found me like on Reddit, on like Facebook groups, TikTok and Instagram, all over. It's just ask around, you know, you live in a community and see where other people go and what they do.
right, right.
Yeah.
Are there any like top questions that you would suggest a woman ask before allowing someone to inject her face?
Hmm. How long have you been doing this? What type of training? That's again in the credentialing. And what happens if something goes wrong? If
Mm,
your provider doesn't talk about what happens if you know, the cons and they're just talking about the pros. Oh, yeah, there's no side effects. That's a lie. Everything should go through proper informed consent. And I think that it is your right to make sure that you feel comfortable with every treatment before you get started with it.
right,
If you trust me wholeheartedly and I'm not going to mess you up because you've already vetted me, you've already seen work, that's we have rapport. But if you're talking to a stranger, how do you know a stranger is trustworthy? Stranger danger, honestly. I think that it's good to have a little bit of reservation.
right.
You might be excited, you might be desperate for treatment, but it didn't just happen overnight. So it means we have time.
Yeah.
And having a plan and really knowing that plan and when to execute on that plan is important. So I love
If
it.
if a woman has a limited budget,
Mhm.
how should she prioritize treatments for the biggest impact, do you think?
It's a little difficult because what that budget is and what their concerns are might be a little bit different.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
So
true.
it does matter, but we have financing options as well. So you can spread that fire out a little bit so it doesn't hit you all at once. But making sure that you're thinking about something that you can do in perpetuity. So if you're going to be doing some sort of neuromodulator or tox, that's something that doesn't last a long time. So it can last about 3 months. Some people think it lasts about 6 months. It doesn't really last 6 months, but they might not be returning back to baseline. So if you can think about doing something 2 to 3 times a year, fine. If you're going to do filler, that's once, maybe twice in the year. A big treatment like lasers once a year. So it's just thinking about what that is. If you want to think about topicals and skincare, there are things that are very, very inexpensive that are still very, very good to do. So not everything is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. You shouldn't have thousands of dollars with skincare. That's too much.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But good, healthy skin shows.
It does. And I think diet and sleep has a lot to do with that too. Hydration, staying
That's
out of
what
the
I do.
sun.
That's
Yeah.
what I do. Absolutely. Yeah.
After treating thousands of patients, what have you learned about confidence in aging?
Your mindset matters so much. The more you are focused and stressed about something not working out the way that it is, that inability to cope makes everything worse. That's that cortisol spike thing again. I've seen so many people, and the way that people walk through life is different. Those that are stressed out and pulling their hair out one way or the other, they don't look good. They don't respond well. You can't talk to them the same way. But people that are really happy and calm and relaxed, just jovial creatures, they have a better way about them. It's just there's an easier way to tread on this earth. And if you really are feeling your best, shine bright. But if you don't settle for anything less than your best. Be reasonable. We're not 21 anymore. We don't want to be 21 anymore. You want to be the healthiest version of yourself. I always give yourself about like a 10, 15-year buffer.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to finish up the conversation with a fun little lightning round.
Ooh, okay.
Okay,
Let's go.
so first up, Botox or lasers?
Tox for the regularity, laser for long-term effectiveness.
Okay, coffee or green tea?
Oh, coffee all day long. Well, just in the morning, but I love coffee. Yeah.
Sunscreen or moisturizer?
Sunscreen.
I'm the same. Biggest skincare myth, in your opinion?
Biggest skincare myth. Lotions and potions are going to lift your face.
That's a good one. One skincare product everyone over 50 should own.
Tretinoin.
I'm so glad you said that. I still fly with so many women who are asking me about my skincare, and I'm like, well, tretinoin, and they've never heard of it, and they're like, pushing 60, and I'm like, you've never used a retinol, you've never heard of tretinoin, yeah.
It's
So
cheap and easy.
yeah, I agree. Treatment that you wish more women knew about.
Biostimulators, the
Like,
Sculptra, the Radiesse. Yeah.
what do you think the biggest waste of money is as far as, skincare?
I'm going to get in trouble. I think the red light masks and some of the energy devices that people put on the face, I think some of them are a bit of a waste of time, especially if you're not doing the other stuff first.
Right. Okay. And fill in the blank, this last one. Beautiful aging starts with blank.
Beautiful lifestyle.
Very good.
Aging is about lifestyle. And lifestyle is obviously multifaceted. But if you are taking care of all the wheels, all the spokes in the wheel of health, you're going to do a really good job through life. I want you to be into your 90s running around doing the things you want to do. I don't want you to be in a wheelchair feeling like you have to go from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. That's not living.
It's not living.
Don't accept it. Aging, your body doesn't know it went around the sun. It's just this pile up, this accumulation of damage. Little bits at times, like you're rolling down the hill and the snowball just keeps getting bigger and bigger. More sticks and stones. Didn't break you, but just picking it up.
Hmm.
So declutter, simplify things, do what's effective, focus on the actual signals. You talk to and work with a doctor that can work with you on this. Don't accept everything just at face value. We got to dig deeper. If you're not playing with your muscle, if you're not focusing on building muscle, I'm talking to you, Helen, you know how important muscle is. But if any of your listeners are not focusing on muscle, they're missing a big, big, easy factor that can improve their health and vitality.
Muscle is the key to longevity.
Muscle is a hormone generating machine. They're called myokines. It is so important to give your body that movement medicine just as much as all of the nutrition and all the things that we can do.
Amen.
Great.
If people want to find you on social media or reach out to you, how can they do that?
Really easy. My first and last name, just Dr. Stephen Sorr. I'm on TikTok and I'm on Instagram. Easy to find. You can go to our website, which is mysourceofhealth.com, and learn all about the things we want to do there. Super easy. And I'll give you the phone number. You can link that in the show notes.
Okay. And he is in Scottsdale, Arizona, just right up the road from me. So that's very convenient.
It is.
Well, I've had a wonderful chat, wonderful time talking to you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and all that great stuff.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Helen.
I'm sure I will be probably seeing you in person sooner than later.
I'd love to see you. Of course.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. I sure hope you enjoyed this interview with Dr. Sorr, and here are some takeaways. Number 1, healthy skin starts from within. Beautiful skin isn't created by one miracle cream or procedure. It's the result of good nutrition, quality sleep, balanced hormones, reduced inflammation, smart skincare, and healthy lifestyle habits working together. Number 2, regeneration is the future of aesthetics. The most exciting advances in aesthetic medicine aren't about chasing youth. They're about helping your body repair, rebuild, and stimulate its own collagen. Treatments that support your body's natural regenerative processes are changing the way we age. Number 3, natural is always the goal. The best aesthetic work doesn't make you look like someone else. It helps you look refreshed, healthy, and confident. An individualized treatment plan with an experienced provider will always outperform following trends or overdoing procedures. And last, aging well is a long-term investment. There are no shortcuts to lasting results. Consistent skincare, healthy daily habits, and thoughtful treatments over time will always beat quick fixes. The goal isn't to look younger, it's to look vibrant, healthy, and the very best version of yourself at every age. Now, if you'd like to reach out to Dr. Sorr, you can find him on his website at mysourceofhealth.com. He's also on social media at Dr. Steven Sorr on Instagram and TikTok, and that's StevenSorr. You should really follow him. I actually found him on social media. He's one of the best aesthetic practitioners I've ever been to, and all the up-to-date equipment, and so knowledgeable. I thoroughly love going to see him. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on social media, on Facebook at Helen Fritch, at Instagram and TikTok, HelenFritch_IFBB Pro. And if you haven't bought my book yet, Life Lessons from the Overhead Bin, you can find that on Instagram. As always, I greatly appreciate all my listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share it and possibly give me a good review on Apple. You can find this podcast on all of your favorite podcast apps. So until next time, as always, age truly is irrelevant. Bye-bye.